Ryan here, Hack Job Speed and Custom. You'll notice the 40's back on the hoist. So about that, transmission is shifting fine, feels good, all that kind of stuff, but it's leaking out of the bell housing. So it's probably the converter seal. I did the pump seals. I don't think I changed the converter seal, so that's likely what it is. Unfortunately, the transmission has to come out of the truck to gain access to that. So rinse and repeat. Here we go. Round 2, at least this time, of taking this transmission out, trying to get this truck fixed for our race season 2024. Stick around. Interior wise, it's not too bad. I've got to take the floor mats out. There's an insulation layer under the floor mat. Then I can get the transmission tunnel out, the brake pedal off. I'll take the shift linkage off, disconnect that from the transmission, and then there's my neutral safety, and obviously the transmission wiring. We'll have to undo that. Then I can move on to the underneath. So not too bad on the interior, but still some work involved for sure. This brake pedal couldn't be easier to get off. It honestly just unscrews. Like so. And then the floor mat will just lift off of that, and I can get at the transmission tunnel. So that has revealed the transmission tunnel. Now I can just unscrew that, pull the boot off of the shifter, and that will give me access to the shift linkage and all the wiring. So that gains me access to the top of the transmission. Then I've got 4 bolts to take that shift linkage off. I'll disconnect it from the transmission below. I can get at the main transmission harness on the other side, plus the speed sensor on the back. And then there's 2 wires on the other side of the shifter for the neutral safety. Undo all that, pull this shifter off, and I will be done removing stuff up top. Alright, so that's got the shift linkage off, shifter off. All I can do now is undo the main wiring harness and the speed sensor harness, and I'm completely done up top here. Alright, well, one thing I did forget to do up top is to undo the transmission lines, those 2 right there. Easy enough. I'll just quickly spin those out, and then I will actually be done up top. My next step is going to be to drain the oil, and that way when I remove the drive shaft I won't give myself an oil bath. So that is next on the job. And hope for the best, hope it doesn't splash too bad, but it is going to splash. For sure. Try and get out of the way here. Oh yeah, not bad at all. Now obviously this transmission fluid looks brand new because it is. What a waste. Got the hired help here tonight. Shop kitty. Yeah, you are helping a lot, aren't you? Well, one more thing I forgot up front was my little access hole to get at the top transmission bolt. So I've undone that. All of the wiring's done. Come on, kitty, get out. So I've got to open up the hood and undo the transmission flex pipe, flex tube, fill tube, whatever you want to call it, dipstick. Undo that from the firewall, and then I'll actually be down up top. So, all right, so mounted to the side of my catch can, you can barely even see it down in there between all these hoses, is my fill tube, and I just welded a bracket to the side of my catch can that holds that. So there's 2 bolts to undo that dipstick, and I can get that fill tube out of there. Okay, so that's got the drive shaft out. I didn't film that obviously, but no big deal. I've got all the wiring undone, my reverse light switch, my neutral safety. I've got the main harness, my speed sensor, the transmission temperature sensor. I've got the dipstick is undone, my cooler lines are undone, shifter's off, top transmission bolts, so it's coming along nicely. All I've got to do now is take off the starter and then undo the torque converter bolts, bell housing. Then I've got to take off this transmission plate plus the U-shaped bracket there that holds that frame together. And then I should be able to drop down the transmission. So yeah, it's coming along nicely, but I will keep on going here. That's got the starter out, obviously. That gives me access to the flywheel there. And I can just use a pry bar or a screwdriver through there to rotate the flywheel to get at each bolt. So those are all undone. Now all I've got to do is remove that plate, that cross member plate, that U-plate, and the rest of my bell housing bolts. And this thing should drop out of here. So getting real close now. Okay, so there's 8 bolts holding that U-bracket on. Another 4 holding that bottom plate. 2 holding the e-brake bracket on. And then I should be able to pound that U-bracket out. I've got to support the engine by the oil pan. I'm going to use a bottle jack on that tray to hold it up there. And then, yeah, I'll have to weasel my table and my floor jack under here and lift up on the transmission, or the pan anyway, so that I can drop it out. So, real close now. I'm just going to quickly double check everything, make sure I've got all the wires, everything's good to go. And I'll support that engine and get to taking bell housing and frame bolts out. Okay, so transmission is being supported by my floor jack on my table. Super sketchy, but it's working. I've got the frame apart, that U-bolt or U-shaped bracket out, and the frame plate out. So all I've got left holding the transmission in is 2 bell housing bolts I left in for safety reasons. So I'll remove those, be able to slide this transmission back 1/2 inch to 1 inch, whatever, just enough to clear the flex plate, and I'll be able to drop it down. So the next footage you see, hopefully I will have that transmission on that bench. Actually, that wasn't too bad at all. So obviously transmission's out again. So what happened? We are going to find out together. I'll just set this camera up somewhere so that I can pull the converter off, and maybe all we'll see is a damaged seal. Hopefully that's all we see. Yeah, about to find out. All right, moment of truth. Let's get this converter off of here. Obviously, not much oil there. No obvious damage to this shaft. You can see a little bit of wear, definitely more wear than should be there for a brand new converter. Okay, well, I just noticed, if you look a little closer here, don't know if you can see it on camera or not, that stator shaft is quite worn on the one side. And it's just the one side. It's good there. But this side, it's got quite a bit of wear in it. The converter looks fine. There might be a little bit of wear in there. Kind of hard to see. Impossible to see on camera. So that explains why the seal's leaking. If this converter was wobbling, if there's an issue with the converter or something on the pump, the stator, you know, maybe something's not right in there. I don't think so. Or maybe my flex plate is bent. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on here. So obviously that pump's going to have to come out and we're going to have to do some investigating there. The only thing I did differently this time was with this converter. Same converter I had last time. Last time I did not use the supplied shims, and this time I did. Yeah. The flex plate is maybe just a little bit suspect. Get under here. Like, I don't like the way that hole looks. I don't know. Maybe it's not true. Could try a new flex plate. Okay, well, it's a new day here. Obviously, I'm in my garage now. Brought the transmission home. I took the flex plate off. Obviously, converter's out, everything, so we can have a look and try and figure out what's gone wrong here. Obviously, we're going to pull the pump apart and see what we can see there. I don't really think it's going to be part of the pump because the stator doesn't move and it's just wearing on one side of the stator. So my personal thoughts are that it's got to be seal outward. So either the flex plate, the torque converter, or I don't know, God forbid, crankshaft. But I can't see there being an issue with the crankshaft because the motor runs like a top. So I've had a few people kind of tell me that they're a little suspect of the converter. We just want to confirm that. It's a Summit Racing converter. Anything branded Summit Racing comes with a year warranty. So obviously they're going to honor that. I've talked to them today and they will send me a new one. I just have to send this old one back. I just want to make sure that the converter is the issue before we go ahead and do that, because if I get a new one, slap it in, and we haven't fixed the problem, this is just going to happen again. So we'll take the bell housing off, we'll pull the pump, have a look inside there, take a straight edge to the flex plate, check that out, and yeah, we'll go from there. So hopefully we can figure this out. Obviously, got the pan pulled off. Everything looks good in there. A little bit of break-in metal, but nothing crazy. Yeah, so all we got to do is pull this solenoid, and then we can pull the lockup solenoid, and then we can unbolt the pump, pull the pump off. I've got another pump that we can steal either the pump half or the stator out of to replace that one that is in such wonderful shape. Then we can reseal it. I still have gaskets for that. Put a new pump seal, new converter seal, pump back in, solenoids back in, new converter, new flex plate. Bushing, yeah, done, ready to rock. So we will tear into it here. Just a retaining clip, and then that solenoid comes out.
Nothing comes flying at my face. That is good.
Yeah, it's always a bonus.
And it's a bonus. Usually you get a spring. Pow! Right in the kisser.
And 2 bolts for the lockup solenoid.
Yeah. I'd rather not lose that inside the transmission.
Yeah, let's not do that.
No. It'll make for a grumpy Brad and an unhappy Ryan.
Yeah, this thing's caused enough lost sleep.
Right. You and me both, buddy.
So a guy shouldn't be losing sleep over a 4L60.
I told you, you phoned me yesterday and I was up till 2 a.m. thinking about this thing.
I wasn't even gonna call you. I was like, I'm not in the mood to call the guy, but it's just gonna kill me if I don't.
Wife looks at me driving into work this morning. I'm dozing off in the passenger seat. Are you up late? Yeah. Me.
So far ahead, you think I'm behind.
Right?
What's up?
I'm just thinking.
Does it hurt?
It's hurting right now, man. I should really stop.
How to get it out?
Well, no, getting it out. I think when we go put it back together, we'll pull the extension housing off and put it in the
Oh,
holder.
well, we can do that right now if you want.
No, I think we'll just for now, because it might be easier. Because I'm gonna have someone pry and then gotta hold the input in place. He sent me. He goes, "You were prying these." I said, "No, I have a pry driver for that." I show him this like $5 screwdriver. I said, "This thing doesn't break."
Pry driver.
My pry driver. Come on, baby.
Easy rod.
Come on, baby. Why? Oh, baby. Who does number 2 work for?
What do you need?
Well,
Me to put down the camera and give you a second pair of hands?
might need you to. I'm just trying to assess this here, what I am fighting with.
All right. Well, next time you see us, the pump will be out, hopefully.
Sealer. I thought I seen a sealer mover in your toolbox.
Screwdriver?
That works too.
Yeah, so obviously, pump's out now. Going to pull the converter seal out. Now, I'm not sure. We may just leave that stator shaft. This isn't a place that it's going to interfere with anything, because the converter engages on the splines. This is a non-moving part here, and then it seals on the torque converter, obviously, this seal here. So there's just fluid that runs past where it's been wearing here. I'll price one out anyway, see what they're worth, how long it'll be to get. I've actually got 2 other pumps here, but they're a different style, and I'm not going to be able to steal parts from one and make them work in the other. So that's something I got to price out, but if I end up just having to reuse this stator, it's not going to affect anything anyway, so not the end of the world. But we will get this seal off and have a look at the bushing inside, see what things look like, and then we'll make a decision from there. You see your rod? Nice billet rotor.
Oh yeah, we're changing that bushing. Look at that.
Oh yeah, she's bad.
Yeah. I thought that's what I was seeing, but I just wasn't sure because the reflection wasn't. Oh.
Easy rod.
You don't need those, really.
No, those are important.
Okay. I'll be a nice guy. I'll put them back.
Thank you. Yeah, so obviously we're changing that bushing because it's worn out. And I'm going to run inside, get on the internet, and price out a stator. See what that's worth. So, all right. So, obviously, I went in, priced out a new stator. They're actually not that bad. I've ordered a new stator from Sonex to replace the one that's damaged in my transmission. I've got a new flex plate coming, and as I mentioned before, I've talked to Summit Racing about the converter, and they're going to send me a new one of those. So hopefully one of those three things is the actual problem, and I'll eliminate it, but I'm all ears. If you have worked at a transmission shop, you work at a transmission shop, you know a guy that knows a guy. If you've got an opinion, I'm all ears. You know, make a comment below. If I'm on the wrong track, please point me in the right direction. But I think one of those three things pretty much has to be the issue, because just the way it was wearing on that shaft, it's like that converter was on an angle, not true or whatever. So it has to be, in my opinion, seal outward. So yeah, got those three things on order. I'll probably end this video there, so we'll pick it up again when I have parts and can put this transmission back together, put it back in, and hopefully solve this problem. So as always, I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel, sticking around in the video to this point. I'm Ryan, this is 780 Speed and Custom, tuning out.